Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you guys for tuning in to West Wednesday. This is week 520. Going on 10 years next week. It'll be 10 years fighting for my big brother Tyrone Bus, but not just for him, but literally for all the victims of police brutality and murder. And just glad you guys are tuning in. And I want to give you guys some special dates to mark the calendar. On Tuesday, which is July the 18th, we will be at Kentmore Causeway. Unfortunately, the area where my brother was murdered will be there at 7 o'clock on the dot Tuesday, so please mark your calendar. Also, Saturday, my beautiful friend Gretchen is running for Runners for Justice. They will be running. They will be starting to run for my brother, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning. Correct? And Gretchen, could you give them the information, please? Mic check.
Mic check.
Yes, so we'll be out at Lake Montebello, River Street here, the entrance at 33rd and Hillen Road at 7 o'clock on Sunday morning. Since it's been 10 years since Tyrone was killed, and we're still waiting for accountability, we'll have a 10K option and also a 5K. You can run, walk, bike. Everyone's welcome to come out. Thank you so much. And I'm going to try to at least, if I can set my schedule time, at least to come out to meet you guys there just to show my thanks and gratitude. So thank you again. But yeah, so as I was saying, this has been a long road. And when I think about it, when my brother first was murdered, and I used to look at people who lost their loved ones 10 years ago or 5 years ago, and I was thinking like that was a long time. And I was thinking I never ever wanted my family to endure going so long without accountability. And that's exactly what we're doing. Like 10 years is a very long time to do anything. But the fact that we never wavered, we never gave up, we're still out here, we're still on the ground. And we're not just out here for my big brother, we're out here for all the victims. This week, unfortunately, Sandra Bland lost her life. And she was going to Texas, literally for a job opportunity. Literally going, and I had to meet her sister. I never thought I would have, the people that I'm meeting now, I never thought that I would have ever met in like real life. Like to actually have them go through that type of pain and then actually rub arms, and I call her my sister, so my heart goes out to her. And unfortunately, something about the month of July is, I always call it the bloody month, where a lot of murders happen. I've been told you guys that it seemed like something about this racist system allows a lot of folks to get killed during the month of July. I think about Alton Sterling, I think about all the heinous, brutal murders that literally happens in the month of July. And it's awful. And like tonight, we have a whole lot of names to read off that's just in the 2 weeks. Just in the 2 week round. In 2 weeks, we literally lost 48 people that we are aware of. And that's just like our list, the media list and whatnot, but we don't know. Like, I would say add another 48 onto that. That's disgusting. Nobody deserves to be brutally murdered. And unfortunately, if you guys follow me, I was really sad and distraught on Saturday when I got the news. Literally, I was gonna call you guys to actually meet up with us to do a special kind of just like stand in the solidarity for missing Lakeisha Wheeler. We were gonna actually stand in solidarity with her family. My daughter, I call her from another mother. That's her auntie. So when she reached out to me and said, "Hey, Ma, can you call the media and throw a news press conference?" I said, "Baby, whatever you need, I got you. And I don't just say I have someone just to be saying it because it sounds cute. I literally meant that. And I immediately, big shout out to Dan, the Hellerbacks. They immediately did the news press conference, released all of that. And then I hit up a bunch of activists and folks on the ground. I even hit up Larry, the celebrity cab driver who does Uncut News. He was going to be there. Our brother Boone was going to be there. There was going to be so many people. Last minute, literally, I hit them up. And they're like, "Sure, I'll join you tomorrow." And then for me literally to get a call at midnight with my daughter from another mother screaming and crying and was saying they killed her aunt. And that is just saying all of the senseless violence that is happening in our city. It's ridiculous. And I keep thinking about that massacre that happened where 30 people were actually shot and 2 victims did not make it. They died. A young man and a young lady. Nobody deserves to be brutally murdered. No one. It's sad you can't even go to a block party and enjoy yourself. And the crazy part that really is disturbing about that incident that happened in Brooklyn Homes, is the fact that this person that they want us to be the active commissioner, that's a piece of crap. You should see what he's doing now. Like he's actually covering things up as we are speaking right now. He's blaming everybody. Everybody will blame Safe Streets. At least Safe Streets was there, and at least they stopped and intervened. And 2, what it could have been terrible incidents. And the fact that the police knew what was going on hours before the massacre happened, they didn't give a damn. They told their officers stand back, because guess what? It wasn't at Federal Hill. It wasn't down the harbor. It wasn't where their money is. So they didn't give a damn. Wherever the property is and that they want to protect this property, that's when they're going to come. If they don't want to protect the property, if there's no property there or something that they're investing their dollars, they don't give a damn. So that shows us what our human life is about. And the fact that something can happen like that in pretty much a poor community where people are just trying to have a nice time, and then the fact that even though it happened there, but you had people coming from different communities that didn't even live there that just wanted to join in with the fun. The young lady, she wasn't from that community. She was a graduate from college. From high school. She had plans to go to college, all of that. And just like her grandmother said, it broke my heart. And it would have been probably one police car sitting out there. Maybe somebody would have said, you know what, we're not going to pull out guns like this and do that. And then the simple fact that they're holding that 16-year-old or whatever that had the gun pulling out, I don't condone any of it. Wrong is wrong, and right is right. But at the end of the day, they know he ain't killing them. I'm pretty sure they found out the bullet ballistics, all of that. They know. But what they'll do, if they catch anybody in the trap, they're going to bring you down for everything. That's why we got to teach our babies to be smart and not get involved in something like that. It's hard. We can't watch everything our babies do, but we still have to be accountable for our babies. Like literally, we have to be like, I've been ripping and running. Both of my babies just got summer jobs this week. I've been running like a chicken with my head off. Like running them back to work because I refuse for them to catch public transportation. I refuse that. I've been getting up, cooking a big hot breakfast for them, even though I don't even eat. I eat that little school lunch, which is disgusting. But that's a whole other thing. But I've been waking up, making them a big, nice hot breakfast and lunch. And then making sure they have dinner. Like, we have to be there for our babies. Because it's either we be there or the streets going to raise our babies. And you don't want these streets raising our babies. And I just saw some poor little kids just running loose, just got off the bus, nearly almost got hit by cars. They were inquiring about the police officers that were on our poster board and what happened to my brother type of thing. But it said we have to do better by our babies. Because guess what? The mayor's not going to do anything. Safe Streets, nobody's going to take care of our babies the way that we can. And in the event that you can't, please make sure that somebody can. Because I had my mother back in the day worked 2 jobs to take care of me and my brothers. And she made sure we were well taken care of while she was at both of her jobs. She'd leave one job, going to the next. But guess what? She made sure that we wasn't with Chester, the child molester. She made sure that she had somebody in place that was well trusted. And it's sad because you can actually trust somebody and they can break your heart and do something to your child, because that can happen at any moment. So you can't even point the fingers and say, oh, well, somebody, you left your child with a check. Because nobody can tend to say, I'm going to leave my child with somebody that's going to hurt them. So I take that back because this is sad. But my mother did everything in her powers to make sure that me and my brothers were safe while she worked those jobs. So I'm just asking us, we need to get back to that village where we all raise those babies, man. You see somebody not doing something right, you need to step up, say something, be alert. Because it could easily be your child. Be alert. Like my daughter's first day at work, her friend that walked in, well, she wound up running to her friend over at the McDonald's. But I told her, I cashed out some more money. I don't even have money, but the baby ain't have nothing to eat. No, not to eat. She got to be on that job for 8 hours. Give her that. Tell her your mother said whatever she want on the menu, go ahead and get her lunch. But we have to take care of each other. That's what it's all about. And I just thank you guys for actually being there, taking care of me and my family, meaning being support. Like there's a lot of people out here that never lost their loved ones from police violence. But you guys are out here. And I remember before the pandemic came, we used to be out here no matter what the weather was. It could be raining. And a big shout out, I see my brother Chris. He even got arrested one time at Morgan State University after we left. While we were there protesting, David Killer Lewis, one of the 17 murderers that actually sat on my brother's back until he was dead. Chris actually wasn't doing anything, peacefully protesting, but as soon as I left, they decided to arrest my brother Chris. Chris is he always is active in the communities. He even got locked up one time down City Hall, wasn't doing nothing but lobbying for them not to do our baby swarm with all this foolishness. And he was arrested, attacked. He done took so many hits, but that's what it is. When Boone used to talk about putting skin in the game, that means that's what it is. Putting boots on the ground, that's what it is. We have to support each other because nobody's going to take care of us. Nobody's coming back to save us, unfortunately. We have to save ourselves. And life is too short. It's beautiful, but it's way too short. And I'm just trying to enjoy my life, stay away from negativity. And it's hard. It gets harder every time this year. I think about how they murdered my brother. Like, we going on 10 years. My brother didn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. And for you to literally just be pulled over for a traffic stop, and you're in a vulnerable stage in your mind that, you know what, you don't even know that you're being pulled over. But as soon as you realize, the minute you realize, you say, okay, let me stop right now, put my hands out, let them see that I'm unarmed, no weapons are in my sister's car, everything. And they pull you out by your dreadlocks and they beat you as if this is a sport. That is disgusting. And I don't care if it takes 17 years. I pray to God it don't. But I'm going to be out here every day, every week, not just fighting and advocating for my brother Tyrone West, but literally for all the victims of police brutality and murder. They don't deserve that. It's bad enough we got to worry about, are we going to get killed by a stray bullet? Are we going to, it's too much. And that's not what life's about. And the media will have us, make us think that all the stuff that we're seeing is normal. It's not normal to see someone being murdered. It's not normal for a mother that's taking care of her babies to actually get ready to go to work and you become missing. And you don't return back home to your babies. And you're a mother and a grandmother at the early age of 45 and you're gone away from your family. Some heartless person just take your life and leave you in your car. That's not normal behavior. That is devastating. And when you murder somebody, you don't just murder the person at the time that you're murdering. You're murdering the whole family. When those people were shot in Brooklyn, the 30, even the ones that survived, right? They're going to be traumatized forever. They may not ever want to go to a block party. They may get loud. Now their life is messed up. All because people can't control their emotions or people just don't care. I don't know what it is. I'm not here to judge nobody. But all I am here to say is just take a minute, 1 minute, to think about how much pain you are inflicting on everybody. It's just not about the person that you're actually targeting. You can target them for whatever reason. And you may even have a valid reason for targeting them. I'm not here to judge nobody, but at the same time, when you take their life away, you're not only taking yourself from your family that's now not going to see you no more because you're in prison or somebody might come and get payback on you. It's just too many. It's just too many lives that you're playing with. So it's best to just take that minute and just walk away. Just walk away. Be the bigger person. Just walk away. It's just sad. And I just wanted to share that. And that really broke my heart. Like, that traumatized me when I thought that we were going to actually find, because my thought was, and I prayed when I got the call Friday, and I said, okay, she been missing for 24 hours. Oh my God, maybe she ran to like a safe shelter. And I'm talking about Lakeisha Wheeler. You know, I'm like, maybe she went to a safe shelter, you know, hiding or whatever. And that wasn't the case. Like, and it's just sad. It's just so sad. So, again, I'm going to stop for a second because I see an ambulance coming. Well, thank you. So, my prayer was, God, please let them find her. You know, I should have said find her, okay, but I just said let her find her. No, I said let them find her, let everything be okay. And yeah. And then I went to sleep and was woke up in the middle of the night with the whole family crying, saying that she was gone. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It's just sad. And then so instead of us doing a press release conference, they were doing a visual. They were doing a visual. That is so sad. It's just too much. So at the end of the day, I just want to let you know, enjoy life, guys. Life is too good to be angry, man. There's a lot that we could be mad about. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot we could be sad about. But we have more things to be happy about. The fact that you get to wake up, hit that reset button and start over, that's enough. Like, you may have a horrible day that day. But the fact that you get to start all over again, you never know what tomorrow will bring. You never know what the next second will bring. Just know that. Just enjoy life. So I'm gonna do a mic check and check in real quick to see if anybody else want to say anything. Mic check.
So this afternoon, I was looking up the number of people and the names that were killed by police in the last couple of weeks around the country. And I do this routinely for West Wednesday, but I have to tell you, I was really shocked. Because from the 28th of June to the 9th of July, so we're talking about 12 days. Those 12 days, the police killed 48 people.
Shame.
Now, on average, they kill about 1,100 people a year. On average, that's about 3 a day. When on the 28th of June, they killed 6. On the 29th of June, they killed 5. 30th of June, they killed 5. On the 7th of July, excuse me, on the 3rd of July, they killed 7 people. On the 8th of July, they killed 5. And on the 9th of July, they killed 5. Now, I don't know if it's a significant trend or it just was a blip in terms of how vicious the cops are around the country. But I do want to take us back, as a member of Progressive Labor Party, I want to take us back to 110 years when World War I was starting. And at that time, if you thought the war was wrong, if you thought it was a war between a couple of different wealthy nations to divide the cheap labor around the world and be like gangsters, and you didn't want to be drafted, guess who knocked on your door to change your mind? It was the Ku Klux Klan. They sent around trying to terrorize people to agree to be in the military to fight that war. So I have the sense that it may be that the rate of police brutality is ramping up because they're getting ready for a world war again between the U.S. and China. The two major superpowers. China now has a bigger navy than the United States. They're a major challenge to U.S. domination of cheap labor, resources, and markets in Africa, South America, Central America, South Asia, and so on. And as they get closer to war, they're going to ramp up the terrorism in order to control us and force us to do what they want, to fight their wars, to fight and die for them. And it's just really wrong. I just wanted to point that out as a possibility for the increase in police brutality. I don't know whether that's the case. And I also want to mention in the new challenge on page 3, there's an article about William Green. William Green was killed by the police in PG County. He had his hands handcuffed, I think, behind his back, if I remember correctly, and they shot him multiple times and killed him. The family of William Green has asked if we can come to the trial, which was going to be this fall, probably in October. So if you want to catch up on the latest with that, it's on page 3. And I just want to end with a little chant. You may remember that the two cops that initiated the attack on Tyrone were Chapman and Ruiz. So sometimes we do this chant, Chapman and Ruiz, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Chapman and Ruiz, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Chapman and Ruiz, you can't hide. We charge you with genocide. Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you, Uncle Bill. Anybody else want to say anything? Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
A week or two ago, I spoke about inefficient and incapable Worley, and I want to bring it up again because of his mishandling of this mass shooting in Brooklyn. Because when he was the major at the Northeast District, he was very, very adept at turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to all of his rogue cops that were out there harassing, beating, and killing people. And his conduct for this mass shooting, like, you know, he was the major at the Northeast District, so he had to know all of their activities. He had to know the activities of the entire district, because that was his job to know. So there's no way he could sit there and say, I didn't know Ruiz and Chapman were going around all summer of 2013, harassing people and beating people up and whatever. I mean, there were millions of dollars in cases that got paid out because of just those two. So now he's like making some excuse that we didn't know this block party was going on. It was unsanctioned. They have this block party every year for the last 20-something years, or at least 20 years. They have this same, it's called Brooklyn Day. They have this same thing. So all of those kinds of activities have to be coordinated with the police so that they can have a presence there. Anytime you go to any festival, anywhere in the city limits, there's a police presence. Why wasn't there one that day? Worley's in charge. He's acting, yeah, badly acting, but acting commissioner. He's in charge. He should have been on top of that. He should be on top of all of these districts and all of the things going on in every district and making sure that there's coverage. And I don't want to hear shit about a police shortage. Give me a break. There ain't a police shortage. There's a morale shortage. There's corruption, you know, amok through them. So no, Worley is showing right now he has no business being commissioner. No business. He should not be even put in front of the city council. His consideration should just be rescinded because he's inept. He's inept to the core, and he doesn't care. And he doesn't care about good policing. He doesn't care about keeping people safe. And then he was on the TV today explaining the body cam footage of the guy they killed over in Patterson Park. And just like I thought, they were all decked out in black. The police insignia was on their freaks. They're decked out and jumping out of unmarked cars with guns. Exactly like I thought. The dude was wrong. The dude was shooting at them and all, but still, like, how do you know who the hell these people are decked in black with guns running after you on the street? So Worley has no business as commissioner, and I am like screaming to Baltimore City that whenever they try and have any kind of confirmation hearing or whatever, get to City Hall. Form a line out the fucking door and out the freaking elevator and get up there and talk to them and tell them he has no business being commissioner. Do a nationwide search, do whatever you got to do, but Worley has no business being commissioner. Mic check.
Mic check.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything or add?
I just want to say, 2 hours before the shooting in Brooklyn, that's all. 2 hours.
Huh.
Right. 2 hours before there was the shooting at that Brooklyn block party, the police sent a helicopter up to look over the situation 2 hours ahead of time. So they were on top of it, but they decided to be absent. That was the decision.
And it was a decision because it wasn't where their money was at. If that would have been down there in the harbor, Fells Point, you had all type, but they would have shut it down early. They just don't give a damn. Mic check.
Mic check.
Brooklyn Homes, any project that they got in Baltimore, that's how they treat the projects. The project ain't nothing but a social scientific experiment about race and racism. Back in the day, y'all college educated individuals here know about the Zambezi project at Stanford University, where they did prison guards, and they had 4 guards, 3 guards, and they broke them down into 3 factions. They had a good guard, an okay guard, and a guard that just let shit slide. They went with the guard that just stepped your foot in their ass. You know what I'm saying? They've been doing that since the 60s. President Nixon did the Southern Strategy where he constructed this situation that we're living in now. You got moms of murdered sons and all this, but where the fathers at? You don't never highlight the fathers in none of this. You feel me? I know that y'all want to put up the women and the women and the women, but we out here too. You didn't make them kids by yourself. Them our kids out there, our sons. But you got our fathers locked up. You got our fathers in the graveyard, the penitentiary, are scared to stand up and be a man. I buried my son in 2006. I've been in this since 1986. You've been killing black people since 1959. Emmett Till is your Freddie Gray. So this ain't nothing new to me. I'm supposed to be here. It's my destiny. It's my charge. The same way that they out here talking about the murder and the murder and the shooting and the shooting. I used to do that same shit in the 80s. You can look it up. Territorial drug disputes. My name is all over that shit. Shooting at people. My name is on that shit. But I changed my product. I ain't changed my hustle. I changed the person that I am. I can't bring my son back, but I can help save another son's life. You feel me? I can help change another kid's life. And that's what I do. I don't do it for money. I do it for change, because change is what needs to be done. And you can't get mad at me, love me or hate me, you gonna respect me. I'm gonna take that respect. And I don't use no gun when I do it. I step in the room. My presence demands that respect. You done seen me with Governor Westmore, and you done seen me with a homeless man. You feel me? I go from the gutter to the government, and wherever I am. When Tawanda asked me to be there, I was there. Anybody ask me to do something that's in Baltimore, I'll be there. And I don't ask for the same support. This ain't my time. This y'all's time. But we're not reinventing the wheel. Y'all going through the same shit we went through in the 60s. The same racism, Martin and Malcolm, but we ain't got no more Martins and Malcolms. We got self-serving demigods. We got people out here claiming to be black leadership promoted by white supremacy that ain't black leadership. You feel me? Al Sharpton is not a black leader. Jesse Jackson Jr. is not a black leader. All right? And I call him out, and Al Sharpton know me. All right? Sure, you pull your mask up? Dog, I'm going to unmask all of Baltimore. And if they got a problem with me, lock me up. I ain't scared of jail. Only thing I'm scared of is God not loving me. And that day ain't came yet. When God stopped loving me, the devil got a friend. Mic check!
Mic check!
Anybody else want to say anything, add anything? Mic check.
Mic check.
Hey, everybody. No justice?
No peace!
No justice?
No peace!
So Tawanda made me think, and I'll always just my respect, and I just have unwavering support, because Tawanda has not taken a break, not given up when others would have, and her spirit just moves me, and I knew moves others. And so, Tawanda, just thank you for
who you've been and what you do, for sure. So a couple of things. It's always kind of interesting when you find out something you thought happened for a reason and happened, or something's a myth that's really another story. And so, and one of those things reminded me of what Tawanda was talking about in terms of neglected communities and how people are exposed and to things that folks like me aren't. So one was, this is not the one I'm talking about, but one, we were watching a show and they were talking about in New Orleans in the late 1800s, there was a mass lynching of Italians. There was a case in courts there, and so I saw that, Chris. And given a number 1 sign to the police. And so after this mass lynching, it was a court case where the citizens of New Orleans and Italians at that time were a minority in the city, and they raided the jail and killed, I forget how many Italians, but the Columbus Day was established because of this lynching. So because of the lynching, the U.S. government decided as a concession to the Italian people that they would honor Columbus. So that wasn't going to happen except for this incident. So, you know, yeah, it's just one of those things. We think there was some other reason, you know, that they were honoring this murderer. Yeah. So the other thing was, I was reading this article about the phrase black on black crime, which now, of course, is used as a way to subjugate or to say that black people are just killing their own randomly and have no morals or whatever the phrase has been used. The phrase actually was written in a column in the Chicago, I think it was called The Public Defender, and the columnists used the phrase black on black crime to express the notion that because of redlining, because of neglect by the police in communities and neglect of the system of people of color in communities, that people in those communities are more exposed to predators and criminality. So by the phrase has been bastardized to mean this whole other thing, but really it was talking about what you were talking about, what happened in Brooklyn, is nobody cared about those people, and they haven't been caring about them. And so now and no one's trying to protect them or go in those communities, and so they were exposed to well, people are constantly exposed to gun violence and other criminality that is sick. It's a sick function of our system that people have to live in these conditions because we set up a system where white people like me could live in better neighborhoods. So I just wanted to, I thought that was kind of connected to what you had to say, Tawanda. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you. That was definitely connected. Mic check.
Mic check.
Do anybody else want to add? All right, yes, my brother Chris. Mic check.
Mic check.
First of all, just as always, much love and respect to Tawanda for doing this week after week after week, year after year after year. Yeah, it blows my mind every time that I think about how long this has gone on for you and how strong you've been and how strong your family has been. And yeah, you guys, so many people in the city that love y'all. I just wanted to bring up 2 quick points for folks who might not be aware of it. So I'm with an organization called Baltimore Court Watch, and what we do is we train volunteers to sit in court on court hearings and take notes and report on them. There's a couple of things going on that people may not be aware of. One of them is we're talking about this young man who was just arrested in connection with the Brooklyn shooting. No evidence at all, except a picture on Instagram or a video on Instagram. We've been seeing this for years. Cops are on Instagram and they are trying to catch y'all with any little thing, and they're saying to the judge, look, he's got the same type of gun that was used in this crime in this picture. We know that's the gun that did it. With no ballistics evidence, with no nothing, and judges are going, well, makes sense to me. You know how many fucking, pick a type of gun, you know how many there are in the city? Tell me that in this country, and they're going to look at a picture and say, not only do I know it's loaded, maybe you could possibly see something that indicates that, but then you're going to say, I know that gun was used, and I know that that bullet that was used from that gun did this thing. And they have no connection other than I saw this person on a picture on Instagram, on a reel on Instagram, something like that. So protect yourself. They're posing as attractive young women to get men who they think are, they think young black men are doing all the crime in the city. They're the scapegoat in the city. And so they are trying to catfish y'all, and they're trying to find any little thing that they can use to build a case against you. So I'm just trying to make people aware of that. Please, lock your account. Don't be accepting friend requests from nobody you don't know, because they will lock you up with that shit. Okay, the other thing is, the young man who was shot, they released his name publicly, otherwise I wouldn't say it, Mekhi Franklin. One of the other things we've noticed in Court Watch is this phrase that keeps coming up, and they used it in his shooting, which is why I'm bringing it up. He was chased because he displayed the characteristics of an armed person. For folks who aren't aware, that comes directly from the judge in the consent decree process. The consent decree that was made because of how fucked up the police are in this city, to try and rein them in, the judge said, these are going to be, they went through from years, they've gone through and they said, this is how we're going to change this policy, this is how we're going to change this policy. You got to train people like this. And they have trained them to say, if they display the characteristics of an armed person, you can give chase. Now, what has been used as a characteristic of an armed person? Well, in the last month, black, exactly. What we've seen in the last month is they'll say they were wearing multiple layers of clothing, displaying the characteristics of an armed person. Hoodie tied around your waist, characteristics of an armed person. Walking, I mean, it's literally, they walked left when I thought they were going to walk right. Right? They'll say shit like, they turned an awkward direction. That was a characteristic of an armed person. They are looking for any little excuse, and the consent decree process that was supposed to, that quelled all of the righteous anger after the murder of Freddie, has been turned into this way of sanctioning more violence against black people in the city. And we have to understand that when they say characteristics of an armed person, they literally will substitute anything. The person had 2 layers of clothing on, characteristics of an armed person. All right? And so part of this is just the language is fucked up, but part of it is a lesson about working within this system when it comes to police brutality. They will twist everything back to white supremacy. That is it. You're hearing Dan talking here about what they talked about with this phrase that was used to highlight, words and language are used to highlight the atrocities being committed against black people in this country for hundreds of years. They will take it and twist it. They told everybody to go home. Everything's going to be fine. We arrested these killer cops. Nobody in jail. Don't worry. Go home. We got a consent decree process. Gonna root out all this evil. Every fucking cop. Every one of them. Every fucking cop's a piece of shit. Warley on down. All right? Fuck them all. Abolish this bullshit because it ain't made. It cannot be turned into what it is not, right? We're trying to sit here and be like an alchemist in the Middle Ages. How are we going to take this piece of lead and turn it into gold? It's lead. That's what it is. It can't be nothing else. You can remold it into a different ring. You can make a candlestick. You can't turn it into gold. And what we need is a system of justice in this country that is not built on white supremacy. That means the whole thing got to go, because that's not what this is. All right. And I just want to follow up with, we're talking about my sister over here talking about people jumping out of cars in all black with a tiny little BPD insignia, chasing motherfuckers and shooting them or terrorizing them at the very least. All right. Those are what are known as district action teams. People aware of this? District action teams. The little exact same thing as the gun trace task force. Again, this is a rebranding of the exact same thing. I'm just trying to highlight that same point. You can twist it, you can change it, but what they are doing is the exact same playbook, and they're finding any way that you will accept it by giving it a new name. From Tyrone West to all victims of police brutality, justice for all victims.
Mic check.
I'll leave that. What he's talking about with the jump out boys, all right, it's by design. If you look at, they legalized marijuana, right? Do you know that they still locking us up for it? They made $10 million in 11 days. We traded penitentiary to the plantation cotton for cocaine, and our black community is the cash crop. It's by design. This ain't nothing. If you face old Jim Crow, if you read the books, if you face old Jim Crow, if you seen the movie The 13th Amendment, this is not broken.
Never was
It
fixed.
was never fixed.
Never
It
was
was not
fixed.
never designed to be no part of America. If you
At
still
all.
doing first black this and first black that, that's some first black bullshit. And I'm a black man. That's some black. If we still doing the first in 2023, all right, how many educated individuals out here? Show hands. How many educated individuals seen Birth of a Nation? The movie the original Birth of a Nation. How many people are there? So tell me the difference between Birth of a Nation then and what's Birth of a Nation today. Instead of lynching, you just put us in chokeholds and you shoot us. And our government ain't doing nothing no different from 1923, right, to 2023. President Trump and Birth of a Nation shit when he tried to overthrow the Capitol. Wasn't that in Birth of a Nation? Wasn't that in the movies? President Taft debuted Birth of a Nation at the White House. Legalizing or condoning killing black people. The Supreme Court didn't do shit about that then, and they're doing the same shit now.
Same exact thing.
If we gonna change anything, we need to do like the Jews did in Egypt. We need to take black out of America. Do a mass exodus. If we made a mass entrance, make a mass exodus. We talk about Martin Luther King, we talk about Malcolm X, but you don't never say shit about Marcus Garvey. You never say nothing about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey had a non-peaceful demonstration. Just take black out of America. We can't pick your cotton no more. We can't clean your bathrooms no more. You feel me? Can't raise your babies and they can't suck on one mama's shit. Because they got that milk in that blood. You feel me? So all I'm saying is to say this. If we know our history, stop repeating that shit. Because that's all we doing. We got, like I said, I've been watching you kill black people since 1959. Emmett Till is your pretty great. And I'm from Illinois. She had that casket open for a reason. So the world can see what being black in America is then and it is now. Mike Jack!
Mike Jack!
Anybody else want to say or add anything? And I want to give a shout out to my brother Travis. I haven't seen him in a minute, but it makes me think about when we did the big protest up here for the 300 West Wednesday. He was boots on the ground. He was with us from the beginning to the end. And he was even out there when he sent that white racist piece of crap to attack me and the people that was with me. So he was right out there to bear witness that. And guess what? John Hopkins ain't getting no type of accountability or anything. Nothing happened. You know, those brave souls, they sat in for 30 days or more, put their bodies on the line. For what? For nobody to be held to charge. And before the police, I just want to add, before the police allegedly cut the chains down, they already sent people on the street. They paid homeless people. They paid people like they always do to commit their crimes on innocent people. And then they cover it up. They've been doing this for decades. You see, when my Brother Chris said we spoke about it. Everything he said, everything Dan said, and Dana said, they ain't been nothing but shorty. Everything up here tonight is been nothing but tree. Is what we gonna do with the tree. So I just want to do a final mic check before we go into the sad list. Do anybody want to say anything before we wrap it up?
Mic check. Mic check.
And I just wanted to say something before we go into the sad list. I was thinking about my brother JC, who does the community feeding. Somebody actually burned like one of their big food trucks, like, and you got the person on camera. That's just sad and disgusting. You're trying to burn down something that someone is trying to help feed the community when y'all won't do anything. Feed the community every day, pounds and pounds of food for free. For free, and not even just food, household supplies, anything you need. So as soon as I get the information, I'ma share what we need. Like he's been helping us, so we need to help him. Because this was not right. I'm willing to help anybody that have been out here putting blood and tears in this. Because don't nobody sign up. This is a hard job for any of us. We always get attacked. So that's all I want to say. I'll be sharing that news. So I want us to take 1 minute. If you pray, say a prayer. If you don't, that's fine. Just say positive thoughts. 1 minute, we're going to have a silence. But not just the police brutality list, but the community violence list. Because we don't condone murder or violence in any fashion, form, or shape. So let's just take 1 minute for all the lost souls or anybody that's going through anything. Mic check.
Mic check.
Thank you, guys. So I want to read this disclaimer before we get started, and I promise I'm going to memorize this. I promise you. It is the mission of the West Coalition to work for accountability for Tyrone West and all the victims of police brutality. We believe that there is a connection between police brutality and community violence. Police can use de-escalation strategies to diffuse situations without necessarily using force. And we encourage community members to resolve their disputes without violence. We care deeply about the families impacted by police brutality and community violence. We seek to uplift the names of their loved ones from a place of respect and care. We obtained the list and names of those shot and killed by police and those lost to community violence from national and local news outlets. We know that these are by no means exhaustive lists, and that the gun violence isn't the only way that people are murdered. We do not obtain detailed information about the circumstances surrounding each of these deaths or the people who died. By reading these names, we're not condoning violence behavior on the part of anyone involved in the situation. Please don't judge our hearts. So, just wanted to say, if this will be traumatizing hearing all these names, or maybe a name you might hear and you don't even realize it's someone you know that was murdered, please just, if you want to take like 10 minutes away, I advise you to step away from your device right now. If you're out here with us in this in-person gathering, if you want to just walk away now, I advise you to take 10 minutes to kind of get yourself together, because we don't want to traumatize anyone. So we're going to start off with the community violence list. Mic check. Who has that list?
Mic check.
All right. Anybody want to read that? So thank you, Adina. So Adina's going to read that list. And I know I saw it earlier And I didn't see Lakeisha Wheeler name, so if you could add Lakeisha Wheeler.
So here's the list of people whose lives were taken in Baltimore over the past week that we know of. Riley Downs,
Riley Downs,
Michael Raub,
Michael Rao,
Harry, I don't know if it's Kaser or Caesar. Harry Kaser, Sherlon Cooper,
Sherlon Cooper,
Albertini Elcock,
Albertini Elcott,
Simpson Green,
Sensory Washington Green,
and Lakeisha Wheeler. That's the power. Thank you, my sister. Okay, so Uncle Bill, and it's a long list of names within a 2-week frame. And just like we said, we know that when someone is just like literally gunned down, that's not the only way someone could be murdered. And his list only shares the list of people that were murdered by guns by the police. So my brother Tyrone name wouldn't be on there, Freddie Ray name wouldn't be on there, so many names wouldn't be on there. Mic check.
Mike check.
Alright, let's give him a minute to find the names. And again, this is a long list, so if you need to step away, this is the time we urge you to step away. Guys, I apologize, but he's unable to find the list, so we'll just hold a space in our heart like we already did with the 1 minute. But I promise you guys, next week, even maybe at my brother's visual, we'll probably read those names because those names are important. And again, even if your loved one wasn't on that list and was actually killed by police, we apologize in advance that your loved one name wasn't on there.
I'm very sorry. I had to listen. I must have hit the lead in my pocket or something. So we'll make up for it.
maybe just do that date.
Yeah, you still got that paper. Remember that paper?
You know, the number for each day.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you started off with.
So, okay. So from, as I mentioned earlier, but this is the part of our rally where we like to honor those whose lives were stolen by police. From June 28th to July 9th, the police around the country killed 48 people. It includes 6 killings by police on June 28th. Ashe. 5 killings on June 29th.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
5 killings on June 30th.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. 7 killings by police on July 3rd.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. 5 killings by police on July 8th.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
And 5 killings by police on July 9th.
Cell blocks for killer cops.
Ashe. Mic check.
So again, I want to thank you guys for your time. And remember, please, if you can meet Gretchen, what address is it for Saturday? Please. 33rd. On 33rd and Helen Road at 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Please meet us 7 o'clock in the morning on Saturday. Lake Montebello, 7 o'clock. And if you can't make it then, I'm sorry, give me a minute. second Saturday. Please meet me and my family and supporters at Kentmore Councilway at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock this Tuesday on July the 18th, 2023, 7 o'clock. And we'll see you guys somewhere in these streets on West Wednesday. Remember, live to love to live. I love you all. Mic check.
Mike.